Hey, welcome back to Mobility Project. CrossFit Southie. Where's CrossFit Southie?
South Boston.
South Boston, home of burnt toast. Want to work with an athlete, give you an idea of something that's going on. So, playing, what's the issue?
I can't get a full range of motion squat.
Okay, can we see a squat?
Sure.
Always start with what you know best is motion. What stops you down in that bottom position?
I don't know. It just doesn't want to move any further.
Okay, so let's see what's going on first. One of the things, go ahead and lay down for real quick. One of the things we want to understand is that your leg should totally be able to go straight. And so in the resting position, something's definitely going on with his leg that he is missing a whole ton of what we call terminal knee extension or knee extension. And in a normal knee, if we compare it to the other side, you know, he's got a bit more, but he's missing a bunch of extension on this side as well. And so one of the things that's happening is that his legs are staying flexed and bent all the time. And the problem with this is that we have a system that's loaded, and it never gets to be unloaded and unlocked. So one of the things that a physio would do, and we talked about before, is when we look on the Mulligan technique, so pop up for me real quick, is if I grab my shin, and I turn it in, go ahead and do that for me. What's really happening is that I'm grabbing the shin, and as I turn it in, I'm restoring that motion of that relationship between the tibia and the femur. Now, by turning the leg in, this is some advanced stuff here, you ready for me, burnt toasties? Is that it's really externally rotating the femur, because I'm basically blocking this. If I can externally rotate the femur on the tibia, I get the same motion. But here, the femur's stable, and what I'm trying to do is internally rotate the tibia on the femur, and I can restore that motion. You can see how stiff that is. And I can grab that, and I can even do a little motion with that. But what I've got to do is if my leg is staying open and unlocked all the time, this is tending what we end up seeing is we missing closing that joint. So the joint has a slight maybe 10-degree rotation in it, and as soon as I restore that motion, I get a lot more depth, right? So he wasn't talking about having a problem with squatting or with getting his legs straight, is having a problem with squatting. So one of the things that we can do is have him squat. Let's get over here. We'll put that foot up on the box, and at the same time, work on a little bit of that rotation. And one way to do that rotation, of course, is to cue the extra rotation of the hip. And if you look at, spin towards the camera, go ahead and just stand normally. His ankle is pretty collapsed here, which is sort of a tell that he's not in a good, oh, hey, look at that. That navicular hides itself and goes back into a good position. So one of the issues is that this collapsed ankle means that this knee is not in an unlocked position. We've been working on trying to get it back into its normal range. So throwing that foot up, so we get the box here. Box, sorry. Box. Putting that foot in the box and trying to flex into that range, trying to keep the ankle neutral and add a little bit of rotation. Give that a try. Good. He's just grabbing that tibia. This is a Mulligan technique. It's a self-treatment technique, trying to get that thing in range and see if that doesn't feel different at that end range. Holding that good position, now he reinforces that good mechanic once restoring that motion. Of course, upstream and downstream, is this an issue that we're missing ankle range of motion? And subsequently, the athlete is having to open the knee and not be able to, as soon as he's going around the ankle, as we've been talking about, that leaves this knee in this unlocked position. Basically having him try to bring that back undoes that and allows me not to restore that motion of full flexion. So let's say he's done that for 2 minutes. Let's try to squat again, see if it's better, same, or worse. Is that better, same, or worse?
Better depth.
Better depth? Did it feel differently?
Yeah, it feels. I don't feel like it's blocked. Like before, I just couldn't move no matter what. I didn't want to move. Now it just allows me to keep sinking. Now, as we think about squatting, one of the things we want to do is create rotation before we descend, right? So I need to tighten up that joint, take all the slack out, so get your feet a little bit straighter if you can. Now, crush those feet into the ground. Now, squeeze your butts, set that position, and then knees out and go back down and see if that doesn't even encourage that even more. Oh, is that even better still? No, not better. Same. That's better.
Whoa, is that better? Go better over there? So, idealizing joint position stuff, especially when you have a rotation. So let's flip it on your back real quick. Just flip on your back. One of the things we want to look at is to look what's happening in the hip here. Does he have full rotation? He's got 30 degrees of external rotation, which is a little shy, considering, you know, he probably should be here. And whoa, he has 0 rotation. So no wonder he can't squat in that position. So what do we work on? Flexion and internal rotation, right? And as a physio, the analog would be me to just get that hip to the back of the socket and rotate with some distraction. The same thing we have him do, where we basically get him in this kneeling position, internally rotate with some band distraction. But look, when we're trying to solve a mechanical problem, treat what you see. Working upstream, we see a huge restriction. This ends up creating that rotation that we just spent time undoing. Can you see what's happening? So he's going around that bleeds off that internal rotation of the leg, and then the leg opens, click, to solve that problem, and now I put a hinge with a 30-degree bend in it, and no wonder it doesn't close. So in this position, when I lock the knee into a good position, there's no reason we shouldn't be going pretty deep, right? So what's going on? I think it's this upstream issue that's probably the ultimate culprit. Does that make sense? So let's get into some of that position. Let's get a flexion with this distracting. So put that on your hip. Get on that knee, drive that knee to the back of your butt. But let's have this hip distract laterally. So rotate. Good. Get more tension in that band if you can. And then from this position, he's going to first get the hip to approximate where he needs to be. Now stop, come back to neutral. The first thing I'm going to do is try to work on internal rotation. Oh! Mama. Boost. And then he pushes back. And now he just spends some time. And what's happened is we bias the internal rotation first, and then he pushes back into flexion second. Make sense? So start with what you see and treat the rotational problems right upstream. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Come out one more time. Let's retest and see if we make a difference with that squat. You got to create that extra rotation and then descend. Whoa. Demons out! Something about the water that's carbonated here in CrossFit South. CrossFit South MobilityWOD. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
See you guys tomorrow.